All right, welcome to the 71st episode of the Revolutionary Code, where we bring the truth about how governmental politics actually works in every facet of human existence and how that affects our people, Black people here in America, Africa, and the diaspora. My name is Brother Tamani Mwandani out of Houston, Texas. I am the direct revolutionary product of one Carl Bayou Chewy out of the Shrines of the Black Madonna, and the indirect revolutionary product of one Albert B. Clegg Jr., African title and name Jaramogi Bebe Ajiman, the father of liberation theology and the founder of the Shrines of the Black Madonna. I am also the founder of the Black Gold Nation movement. My co-host, the chief consultant of the Black Gold Nation's political strategy and implementation department nationally, and our adult education division, and the chairman of LACE, Liberation Advocates for Community Empowerment, the intellectual gangster, corporate grassroots revolutionary, and master domino assassin from Shreveport, Louisiana, aka The Boot, Brother Craig B. Lee. Brother Craig, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing all right. It's gotten a cold now. It has been summery. Now it's cold, so this weather is tripping, but I'm gravy preparing to go to Mississippi and put it down tomorrow.
Cool. What's happening in Mississippi?
The police department down there in Woodville, Mississippi said we need dads on duty input into our savage issue. And since I got 100 PhDs in negroology, negrometrics, and negrorosis, and then I said I'll go ahead and come down here.
Well, amen. All right. Well, that's what it's about. That's what it's about. Trying to get our people to realize that we're not just here talking about stuff. We're trying to get you to actually do stuff. And the more we can do, the more we can implement proven solutions from grassroots Black people like dads on duty, the better off we're going to be. The more we realize that everything we need, we do have the power to enact ourselves, the better off we're going to be. And the more we wait for other people to do it, not only the longer is it going to take, but that pretty much guarantees that it's never going to happen. So we're not here to just talk. We're trying to motivate you to do something. We want to inform and educate, but we also want to motivate, mobilize, organize, and build. Every single thing we say and every single thing we do is about bringing our people together to find the right people so we can build something that matters, something that has power. Tonight's show title is 10 years later, tens of thousands of our own dead while George Zimmerman is alive and well. The reality of our self-hate, lack of spirituality, and organic right culture. Again, 10 years later, tens of thousands of our own dead or have died while George Zimmerman is alive and well. The reality of our self-hate, our lack of spirituality, and our lack of organic right culture. So tonight we're going to start the show with a brief video clip. It's about 2 minutes long, and then an article. The clip is a well-known, I guess I can say a former gangster out of LA by the name of Monster Cody. His perspective on Nipsey Hussle, eye-opening and quite sad. But he catches his issue, and he says it's still something that he has to deal with. So we want to watch that brief clip, and then I'm going to come back and read the article that Brother Craig sent me, and then we'll have a conversation about it. So give me a quick second to share my screen, get this video up. We'll watch it, read this article. It's a brief article, and then we'll go from there. So.
I wanted to ask Kev Max. I want to say this about Nipsey though. Let me say this about Nipsey. Okay, man. Go ahead. Speaking honestly, you know what I mean? I really didn't know nothing about him. I hear everybody talk about him on the yard just before he got, was assassinated, right? But I hear all the different young cats talk about, they banging Nipsey, and that's cool. Even some of my little homies. Even shit was out there, right? Good shit. But I just never listened to him. So I just let him do his thing. I knew he was an Eritrean. You know what I mean? I knew a little bit, but I know who his brother is, Black. I know who he is, right? But so anyway, So when he got hit, my first instinct was, damn, man, I'm damn, I hope the homies got it. It was just that much hate still in me, right? And I never even knew this dude, never even functioned with him. I never heard his name on my hood or nothing. I ain't been involved in that shit in 30 years, but that's how deep sick this is. First thing I thought was that the homies got his ass. Because first thing I thought was that he was supplying his hood with guns and shit to get my homies. That's that same critical ass hate that was still in me that I thought I had revolutionized away. So then I started listening to the radio more for the next 3 days. I started hearing about all the magnificent shit that dude was doing. I started hearing about all the grassroots shit that I should have been doing, that he's doing. That every G, he's outshining the G's. This motherfucker is doing it. And immediately, my thought was, I sure hope the homies ain't killed this dude. It took 3 days, man. But from that point, I've been working on myself. I give Nipsey's props, man. Nipsey's doing what everybody should be doing. I mean, I don't know to get down on the whole thing about the dude. Shout out, man. The marathon continues with me, man.
So you. All right, so that's the video, and we're gonna talk about that in the detail after I read the brief article that Brother Craig sent, because they most certainly go hand in hand. So let me get a quick second to share my screen with the article, zoom through this thing, and then we'll get back to the conversation. So again, this is an article that Brother Craig sent myself and Brother Lloyd, I think a day or two ago. So George Zimmerman lawsuit against Trayvon Martin's parents thrown out by judge. The Florida Neighborhood Watch volunteer who shot and killed the teen in 2012 accused them of trying to destroy his goodwill and reputation. So a lawsuit filed by George Zimmerman against the parents of Trayvon Martin, accusing them of defamation and conspiracy, was dismissed by a Florida judge on Monday, February 14th. According to the Associated Press, Florida Circuit Court Judge John Cooper threw out the lawsuit against Sabrina Fulton and Tracy Martin, as well as their family attorney, Benjamin Crump and HarperCollins, which published the book, Open Season, Legalized Genocide of Colored People. Zimmerman, 38, accused the Martin family and Crump of engineering false testimony with information allegedly included in a documentary about the case, according to the Miami Herald reports. The suit stated that all defendants have worked in concert to deprive Zimmerman of his constitutional and other legal rights and attempted to destroy his goodwill and reputation in the community. Cooper said in an order filed more than 2 weeks ago that Zimmerman failed to show any fraudulent representation, and there can be no claim for conspiracy to defraud if there is no adequately stated claim for fraud. Zimmerman's case drew worldwide attention and served as a precursor to many high-profile cases of police violence and civilian vigilantism toward Black people. When he shot Martin on February 26, 2012, Martin, 17, was in Sanford, Florida, visiting his father from Miami when he encountered Zimmerman, who suspected that he was a burglar. The two engaged in a struggle, and Zimmerman fired his weapon at the teen, killing him. Martin was unarmed. At his 2013 trial, Zimmerman claimed he acted in self-defense and was acquitted of all charges. And of course, I think most of us know about that situation. So I wanted to play that clip of Monster Cody. And if you don't know who that is, Monster Cody is a notorious blood gang member in California, and I would venture to say nationwide. And he was called Monster for a reason, because of the way he went about doing what he did as it relates to other gang members who were not a Crip like he is. So first question for you, Brother Craig. Would you say that Black people are psychologically sick?
I would say that Negroes are psychologically sick, and I always make the distinction between Black people and Negroes, both being melanated, both being descendants of Africa, but there is a distinct difference between a Black person, that being an African descendant who is about the business of liberating, empowering, and advancing his or her people, and the Negro, that product creation of the architects and engineers of the philosophy, system, and game of capitalistic white supremacy. So Negroes are definitely mentally ill. in this society.
So the difference between a Negro being mentally ill and a Black person being mentally ill would be what? You saying a Black person has already
already gone through the transformation,
gotcha,
or is working on transforming from his mental illness, elevating from Negro into being Black. All of us were unfortunately born into this matrix of activity, mentally, spiritually, the whole nine. It's very rare that you're going to be raised in a household where you got two parents who are already on the spiritual, cultural, educational, economic, social, and political plane to be able to raise children to come into this. So we have to go through that process. But the whole point is, unless you're just born with a mental disability, not talking about those entities, but in terms of the slave mind mental illness, there's definitely a difference between Black African descendant and a Negro African descendant.
Dig it. Now you are very, very keen and specific on the words that you use. You said mentally ill. I said psychologically sick. You see the two being different?
Well, psychology is a byproduct of the mind.
Okay.
So I go to the root versus the byproduct of what comes out of the root. So psychology goes to the mind, which initially it used to be focused on the soul, but since white folks believe that there is no soul because they lack the spiritual connectivity to the Creator, they switched it and said, hey, we're going to study the mind, which of course the mind and the brain are different, but they go hand in hand. That's why I reference the mental illness versus saying that they're psychologically sick, because psychology is the study of the mind and within that overall perspective.
Cool. So in the video, Monster Cody said the first thing that he thought, the first thing that came to his mind when he heard that Nipsey Hussle was assassinated was, he said, I hope the homies got him. And of course he checked himself because he realized that was self-hate. So what was your takeaway from that clip, hearing him say what he said so quickly, but he did catch himself? What is your takeaway from that video?
Which goes right to my goddamn article with George Zimmerman.
Yeah.
I mean, again, we're talking about individuals who are mentally ill, but are soldiers, all for the wrong cause.
Yep.
All for the wrong goddamn cause. Because as we always discuss, the definition of power being those entities who can create, define reality and have others respond to your definition. And when Dr. Wade Nobles created that definition, this is what he's talking about. But if you told those guys that they were not men, they're not. If you told those guys they were not Black, which they're not. If you told those guys anything that really spoke to the slave mentality that they have to perpetuate murder and mayhem on a daily basis in our community, but they have no thought of turning their violence onto their oppressors, it just tells you how sick and insane they really are.
So why do you think that level of hate exists? Why do you think we hate ourselves and people who look like us so much? Why do you think that is?
No spirituality and no organic right culture. Everything, this thing is real. the Creator has helped me really compartmentalize this thing and make it very simple. If you don't have spirituality, if you have not unlocked, unleashed, and activated your mind in order to unlock, unleash, and activate your spiritual power, in order to then regulate your cultural construct, which ours has been stolen from us. So we have to, Sankofa, look back and go back and reclaim that which has been stolen in order for us to establish our organic right culture. If you don't have those two things right there, the first two things of the 6 pillars of empowerment, now you're open for self-hate. Now you're open for self-destruction. Now you're open to do all of these things that are anti-life versus being pro-life, not from a Eurocentric abortion issue standpoint, but really being about embracing life, pro-life. And so those two things, those two human assets regulate how people will interact. If you got those two things, you're going to be about the preservation of life and the upliftment of life. If you don't have those two things, you're going to be not giving really a damn about anybody else or what you need to do to help advance life. And that's where we're at. And this was existing now before chattel slavery.
Yeah.
The mindset had to exist before chattel slavery to some degree, because if the mindset didn't exist, the white folks wouldn't have been able to accomplish their mission about getting us from the continent. So there's a serious role that our people play in their mental illness that they just do not want to come to grips with.
Right.
And as long as they're continuously running from that, they'll never be able to heal.
That's right. That's right. And we don't want to accept the fact that, yes, on one hand, white people have done some awful things to us, but on the other hand, a Black hand made it possible by opening the door, and melanated hand made it possible by opening the door and letting them in. So the next question, I assume your answer will be the same. The next question is why do we kill one another so easily? So that would go back to lack of spirituality and organic right culture, correct?
Because all of those things are symptomatic ailments of no spirituality and no organic right culture.
Right.
Because those two things, and especially the spiritual piece, because it is your ethical and moral compass for right living and right action, right conduct, okay? So, because culture in and of itself is not infallible.
Yeah.
Meaning there are things that's done within an ethnic group that's not in harmony with the Creator and the ancestors. So you have to have some ability to check yourself. And the only way that you can check yourself is to now go outside of yourself in order to regulate yourself. So how do you go outside of yourself in order to regulate yourself? That is the connection with the Creator and the righteous ancestors who gave you life to begin with. But when you're not operating within your spiritual positive energy, now what ends up happening, you ain't gonna want to regulate yourself. You're gonna want to do what the hell you want to do.
Yeah.
So you don't want another entity hovering over you saying, "Hey, Tamani, that's wrong, that bro. Don't do that, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, Tamani, you need to go apologize to that. Hey, Tamani, you need to change that up. Or hey, Craig, you need to, bruh." Because if you're just rolling me, you're not going to give a damn about that.
Right, right.
And so it's not going to be an issue for me to take your ass out, take your mama out, it's not going to be an issue.
Yeah, yeah. So, why do you think Zimmerman and people like Zimmerman who take Black life and get away with it, why do you think they are still alive and walking around?
Again, the Negroes lack spirituality and organic right culture. And as a byproduct of that, when it comes into this particular piece, now you're dealing with unconscious Negroes who do not see the problems of or issues of their brothers and sisters as being their issue. You see? So at the end of the day, it's like, okay, that Negro gone. Negroes talk about it.
Yeah.
They'll complain about it. But then when it comes to now doing something about it, they're not going to do. And so that's why when you hear Bernie Mac tell his joke and Cedric the Entertainer tell his joke in Kings of Comedy, Negro ain't gonna do a goddamn thing.
Right.
They just be talking. Man, we gonna blow this motherfucker up. And Bernie Mac said, you ain't gonna do a goddamn thing. Okay.
That's right.
And that's real in most of these instances. And so that's why Zimmerman is still breathing, because the Negroes who talk all of this noise, they're not going to do. The Negroes who create all of this mayhem and violence, they're not going to do. But on a daily basis, they'll do themselves in every day like clockwork.
Yep.
Because other than the church and the liquor store, the Negro savage is the most consistent entity in any African-American community in this country.
That's right. That's right. So I have another clip that I want to show that I actually showed last week, but I want to focus on the latter part of the clip and ask Brother Craig a very specific question as it relates to the latter part of the clip, because I think given what we're talking about now this evening, I think the latter part of this clip from the movie The Matrix most certainly fits. So I'm going to let this play, that I'm going to ask Brother Craig a specific question about this clip at the end.
The Matrix is a system, Neo. That system is our enemy. When you're inside, you look around, what do you see? Businessmen, teachers, lawyers, carpenters, the very minds of the people we are trying to save. But until we do, these people are still a part of that system, and that makes them our enemy. You have to understand, most of these people are not ready to be unplugged. And many of them are so inert, so hopelessly dependent on the system, that they will fight to protect it. Were you listening to me, Neo? Or were you looking at the woman in the red dress? I was. Look again. Freeze it. This isn't the Matrix.
No. It's another training program designed to teach you one thing. If you are not one of us, you are one of them.
What are they?
Sentient programs. They can move in and out of any software still hardwired to their system. That means that anyone we haven't unplugged is potentially an agent. Inside the Matrix, they are everyone, and they are no one.
So my question to you, Brother Craig, is would you say that the melanated Negro savage, or even persons like George Zimmerman, are they sentient programs, part of the system to disrupt, cause mayhem, protect the system? Would you say that they are sentient programs?
Exactly. I mean, that's their role. I mean, look how quickly Cody was like, damn, I hope we got his ass.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. Hey, oh, Lord Jesus, forgive me.
That's right. That's right.
They are so then when you say, why would you want this brother dead and you don't eat? Look what he said. I don't even know this nigga.
That's right.
But then it dawns on you, you know what? He's doing the shit we're supposed to be doing.
Right.
But you do what he's doing until you change what? Transform what?
Your mind.
And your spirit.
That's right.
Ask the question, why do I say mental illness versus psychological sickness? Because we go back to the root of what produces the concept of psychology in the first place. And so if you don't transform your mind and your spirit, because the spirit is not in and of itself just a positive thing, because the spirit can be a negative thing. So that works in harmony. And so, yes, they're sentient programs.
So,
I mean, they're going to protect this goddamn matrix that we're in.
Yes, sir.
And they do an excellent job of it. Man, I wish we would have killed that nigga. Why? He wear blue, I wear red. Do you own the goddamn color? No, I don't. Well, why are you doing this? Well, I don't know, but I'm just programmed to do it.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you go kill the white folks who put your people in? No, that's too dangerous. They're gonna come get you.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, that's different. They are doing the job of the architects, engineers, and the managers.
That's right. That's right. And I'm trying to find it, and I wish I had a little more time, but that image, and I'll find it before the show is over. That image that you sent of the gangsters, the street level, the Godfather, the mafia, politicians, and the families.
And the real shot callers.
And the real, so everything above the real shot callers, sentient programs. Yeah. And when you, like you said a few weeks ago, if you can wrap your mind around the reality of how this system actually functions, the philosophy, the system, and the game of how these people do what they do, if you can get that far, then that's a pretty good starting point to understanding everything else. Because if you don't understand that, like I'm not sure if it was Neely Fuller who said it, but someone said, if you don't understand white supremacy and or racism,
and that's matter,
everything else gonna confuse you. You're not gonna get it at all.
And that's to the point of what Neely Fuller is talking about, brother. If you and now think about that, that means 99, probably 99.5, 99.99% of people, especially our people, will never get this.
Yep.
They're gonna die, never getting it.
Yep. And
so clever. It's so cleverly done. I mean, I gotta take my hats off to the folks, man. It is clever.
And not only will they never get it, but they will never come close to sniffing their life's purpose. So you're going to go through your whole life never realizing why you were ever here in the first place and confused.
Ever.
Just a pawn.
And these Negroes believe their goddamn purpose is to kill people of a goddamn street that they don't own.
Right.
A damn color that they don't own. And dude, really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And they do it, Brother Craig, they do it with such pride. They do it with such glee, and they are so boastful and braggadocious, so much so that they put it in their music.
Yeah.
And of course, the industry supports what they're doing, and you see no other race or culture of people talking about their own like we talk about our own.
Exactly.
And if that's not a clear evidence of mental illness, then I don't know what is. I don't know. So next question. Now most people would not associate a spiritual person with a hitter, so to speak. But of course, we know that if we're going to do this thing like we need to do it, we got to protect ourselves from not just the melanated Negro savages who happen to look like us, but aren't us, but also the George Zimmermans of the world, those sentient programs. So the question is, what would you say to people who believe that a spiritual person shouldn't kill?
Be prepared to die when they come for you. I mean, that's such. Let me tell you how retarded that is.
Come on.
So, what does so-called God do throughout Scripture?
Oh, he destroys some stuff for sure.
Exactly. So the question I have for any person who doesn't even understand this, it's real simple. Can you do anything greater than your God? And you know they're gonna say, no. I say, are you sure? You can't do anything greater than your God. Oh no, it's the greatest. So if you can't do anything greater than your God, and your God is killing every goddamn body throughout Scripture, wiping their goddamn ass out, how can you do something greater than your God? What you mean? I ain't trying to kill nobody. That's my point.
Right? Maybe you should.
You ain't trying to kill nobody. So that means you're greater than the entity that created you. If you never understand that there's a reason to kill enemies that are seeking to kill and harm you, then you get whatever the hell you get. Yet you would sit in this country and boast and brag about being a goddamn American, and all America does is kill motherfuckers.
That's right.
Every goddamn day.
Yep.
Every week. But since you're not directly connected with it when they drop those so-called smart bombs out over in Afghanistan and Iraq, and you killing 200,000-300,000 people, who the hell you think you're killing? I mean, oh, that's right. You're able to do it in harmony with them while they are in the sky or in Nevada launching a goddamn drone to take people out. That's why I tell people Barack Obama was a goddamn gangster. He was the head of the most hardcore mafia in the goddamn world, United States government.
Yeah, and I think Barack Obama had more drone killings and the bombings than any other president. Exactly. So he most certainly took it to another level.
Yeah, that's what I would tell them anytime somebody comes with foolishness like that. So if somebody come in to rape your mother, what you gonna do? You're gonna let them rape your mother, rape your wife? Oh, thou shalt not kill. No, it's thou shalt not murder. I kill. There's always a reason to kill now.
That's right.
The question is, are you killing for the right reason?
Right. Amen. All right. So if you missed the beginning of the show, you're watching the 71st episode of the Revolutionary Code, where we bring the truth about how governmental politics actually works in every facet of human existence and how that affects our people, Black people here in America. Tonight's show is our 71st episode, and it's titled 10 Years Later, Tens of Thousands of Our Own Dead, while George Zimmerman is alive and well. The reality of our self-hate, lack of spirituality, and organic right culture. My name is Tamani Omandani. I'm the founder of the Black Gold Nation. My co-host, Brother Craig B. Lee, who's our chief consultant of political strategy and implementation, as well as our adult education division. Okay, Brother Craig, next question. How can spirituality help us not only not hate ourselves, but also help our people protect ourselves? How does spirituality help us not hate ourselves and help us to protect ourselves?
Spirituality is the source of all positive action, positive conduct. It's the source of your power, your harmony with the Creator. It's the protection that you need the armor
Mm-hmm.
from those forces of evil. It allows you to stand on your square. Even if your relatives, your wife, your husband, does not desire to stand on their square. It allows you to really understand what it is all about to marching to the beat of your own drum when others are rolling with the forces of evil. Because as I've discussed over the past couple of weeks, I mean, just think about this. What can you do in this world as a righteous person, outside of going to some job or starting a business, just as a righteous person? What can you do to generate any kind of income as a righteous person?
What can you do on your own as a righteous person to generate income? You come up with ideas to generate income.
No. Give me a perspective. Come up with what idea? I said outside of working or owning a business.
You can't do much of anything other than just be a good person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because right now, if you lost $5,000 and I saw it drop out of your pocket, and I'm a righteous person, okay, I come up and say, hey man, you dropped it. Now, unless you give me some money,
right? How
much money do I generate by giving that to you?
Zero.
Okay. Yeah. Now, same situation with an evil, unrighteous person.
He done come up.
See, evil and unrighteousness pays in this wicked society.
That's right.
That's why people don't like, what the hell I'm gonna be good for?
Right.
What I'm gonna be righteous for?
Right. And that's what KRS-One was saying last week. If truth had a bag attached to it or it paid, then more people would tell the truth. But there is no reward in telling the truth, so people don't.
Exactly. So to be righteous, that is a higher compensation that the vast majority of people will never comprehend. That's a compensation between you and the Creator, you and those entities who put you in the game. And so for you trying to go out and convince all these crazy ass people to roll with you on that ain't gonna happen. You see? So spirituality opens you up to understanding that none of this stuff that we're doing, money, status, material, none of this is real. It allows you to understand none of this is real. You see? And so now it allows you to comprehend who the real enemy is.
Right.
And it's not just the architects, engineers, and managers of the philosophy, system, and game of capitalistic white supremacy. It's not. It's a lot of melanated Negroes who look like us.
Right.
And they are blocking and cutting for the architects, the engineers, and the managers of the philosophy, system, and game. So spirituality allows you to see these things before they happen, allows you to connect dots.
That's right.
It allows you to be in their meetings without being in their meeting. It allows you to properly vet who, what, when, where, why, and how. It allows you to now regulate culture when culture is not right. It allows you to embrace education. It allows you to now create products and services for the benefit of your people. It allows you to now figure out how to do socioeconomics, better transportation, better water, better hospitals.
Yeah.
And it allows you to operate as a unit politically without saying, man, that dude to money made more money than me. I got to stop that. brother, you rich too. That ain't the point.
That ain't the point.
That's what spirituality, opening up and unlocking that. It does all of these things. It allows you to become supernatural. It allows you to become that superhero that most people only believe exists in Marvel comics. DC comics.
So that you started to mention it, but that goes into the next question. That is how spirituality can help us not hate ourselves and protect ourselves. So how does organic right culture in concert with that also help?
Well, the organic right culture is the structural things that you'll do on a daily basis in order to enhance the quality of life for yourself, your people. So it's going to allow, you to have positive energy when it comes to your language, when it comes to your conduct, when it comes to your family structure. It's going to allow you to understand that anti-life positions in homosexuality is not, those positions are not beneficial for our people. Why? Because if you don't have people being born, then you cease to exist. You see, I just saw a deal the other day where the brat and her homosexual chick just welcomed in a child. Well, wait a minute. How can they have a child? Oh, it has to be something else. It has to be either some fertility clinic, sperm bank, or a dude running up in them. Okay, because two females can't create life.
Right.
Two males cannot create life. Oh, that's right. Since we can't create life, let's go on and mess a child up that we didn't create and let them see two females or two males together. You see, so culture eliminates those types of things from an organic and right cultural construct. It allows you to now parent better. It allows you to understand how to function in school better, embracing those things. And it works in harmony with spirituality to now initiate those core principles that you need to survive and thrive.
Is spirituality enough? Can you have spirituality without organic right culture and build the kind of nation that we need? And conversely, if you can't have the organic right culture without spirituality, so they absolutely must work in concert and together, correct?
They work in concert together because your spirituality is going to force you to establish a code of conduct, policies, procedures, a constitution, a structure of how you're going to do everything that you're going to do.
Right.
So you got to have a cultural construct which is going to come out of, or be born out of your spiritual power.
So if I was thinking, I would have had this handy because your definition is most certainly a long one. So give us your high level overview of what spirituality is. So how do you define spirituality?
Well, like I said, it's simply it is your power, the power that it already exists in you, that has to be unlocked, unleashed, and activated, that will connect you to the Creator, that will connect you to your righteous ancestors, and allow you to tap into your macro and micro purposes in life. It is the compass for right living and right conduct. Okay. It allows you to now shield yourself from evil, because it's also a defense mechanism as well.
Okay. All right. So that is most certainly that's the brief definition. I'm going to give everybody your full definition because I think it's so powerful, and I'll even put it in the chat so everybody will have it. Which I could put it on Facebook as well. So excuse me. So this is Brother Craig's, for those of you who are joining us via Zoom, this is Brother Craig's entire definition of spirituality. And again, I'm putting it in here because it's such a powerful definition, and which is pretty much what he said from a high level. The intrinsic supernatural power harnessed within positively enlightened humans which fuel them to harmoniously connect with the master creator, the universe, and their righteous ancestors in order to, and he said this as well, unlock, unleash, and activate their third eye, their mind, learn, know, and work their macro and micro life purposes. That can be a show. Establish an ethical and moral compass for right living. He said that. Unite with other spiritual warriors to build a balanced world rooted in collective freedom, justice, cultural respect, and equity. Protect, educate, and enlighten the unconscious masses. Acquire supernatural armor and weapons for spiritual warfare, and engage, battle, and defeat the forces of evil in spiritual warfare. So that definition, Brother Craig, most certainly presupposes that the fight will not always be physical.
Exactly.
We have to know how to, like you said, you have to be in the meeting without being in the meeting.
Exactly.
You have to be able to feel the negative energy and the negative power that other people are emanating so that you can combat it and protect your people from it, correct?
Exactly.
Solid.
And that's what makes Sister Shannon so important with her study of astrology, numerology,
yep.
Because these are spiritual sciences. These are cultural sciences that our people created and mastered. But like most things, we forgot based on our oppression.
That's right.
And so when you can have someone like her now embrace these things genuinely, and not no goddamn fortune-telling hustle and all of this foolishness that I remember I had a sister going through my empowerment boot camp for years, and she wasn't paying me to go through the goddamn empowerment boot camp, but she'll go pay the goddamn fortune teller $500 and still be fucking up. And so she'll be like, damn, you know, everything you tell me is on point, but the fortune teller, she told me this was gonna happen, but it didn't happen. I said, you know what? I'm gonna start charging your punk ass because the goddamn fortune teller is making money off your retarded ass, and you ain't listening to what the hell you supposed to be listening to, so you can empower yourself to make better goddamn decisions. So I say, I need a goddamn check from your ass, just like that damn fortune teller telling you you're gonna have 2 pigs and 2 goddamn chickens, and you're gonna live on a farm with 1,000 acres and have 44 children to now, you know, take you on into glory. No, you need to write me a check too.
You know, if you start charging her, you know what's gonna happen, right? she gonna stop coming. All right, next question. Are we all born with spirituality or with spirit?
Not everybody is born with spirituality. Those righteous entities are born with spirituality. Just like I said the other week, shit, the Creator got poisonous snakes and non-poisonous snakes.
Okay.
Some of us are born evil. Some of us are born righteous. The power source for unrighteous people, evil. The power source for righteous people, spirituality. So no, everybody ain't born. This whole premise that everybody is born good, and no sir, no sir.
So if we say, which we said a few weeks ago, that spirituality can also be seen as energy, Everybody is born with that energy. So how can a person not be born with spirituality and based on their environment, what they're exposed to, will determine what happens with that spirituality? Would either it be evil or righteous? If everybody is born neutral, if you will, what determines what they do is the environment and what they're exposed to. You're saying that's not the case, or that's not what you believe. Is that right?
Well, I will say that there are individuals who are born in a neutral position and be swayed one way or the other. The majority of people are going to be like that.
Yeah.
Majority of people are going to be just like that. But those entities, there are entities who are born specifically on an unrighteous path who embrace evil. There are entities born on a righteous path who are born with spirituality. The game is to now see who can sway those in the middle towards doing the right thing or sway them into doing the wrong thing. Because these are just sheep. These people, they're just gonna flow.
Yeah.
And so that's where the war is at. So that's why I'm always saying so-called good people, righteous people, the way that they roll, they want the unrighteous, evil people to stop doing their goddamn job. To put them there for a purpose so that you can now see how the creator really rolls when you're doing the right thing. But because we don't want to engage them in battle, we constantly lose. And they play their manipulative games, and we never get it because we're not understanding that this is a war.
Yeah. So give me your perspective of the most evil person who's ever walked the planet. Who would that person be?
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Just give me one.
I mean, hell, Clarence Thomas.
All right. so you say Clarence Thomas is worse than Hitler. All right.
For us, he is.
Who?
For us, he is.
For us, he is. Okay. So let's say Clarence Thomas. So you would say that the damage and the destruction that Clarence Thomas does as a member of the Supreme Court, you're saying he was born to do that kind of evil and destruction against his own people?
No, he was swayed into evil because when you check out his story, you know, he used to be in the Black Panther.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, he used to be an artist, but he wasn't getting no chicks.
Yeah.
Because of his physical features.
Right.
And so he developed a hate. He writes about this. He developed a hatred.
Yeah.
For them sisters that didn't give him no play. So once he got a taste of being around, just like in I'ma Get You Sucker. Once he got a taste of, you know, getting a job with some white folks when they were hiring at the federal building, he ain't looked back. He was swayed and recruited into that. So his mind was primed.
I got you.
Okay. Into evil. Yeah.
Okay. So give me somebody who you think was born to do evil, or born evil.
Oh well, damn. So Hitler was born evil. The Klan, Bill Clinton, born to be evil.
So these people were born to do what they did. They weren't swayed. No matter what happened in their lives, you believe that they were always going to be on that path to do evil.
Yeah, without a doubt. Okay. And I also believe that Obama was born to be. I didn't think I would see anyone who could lie better than Bill Clinton. You know, I'm like, man, I remember I used to look at his speeches like, God damn, he can lie good. Until I saw Obama, man. Obama, man. I mean, I got to give it to him, man.
All right. Well, for the record, the Black Coalition don't believe. We believe that everybody's born with spirituality, and based on your exposure and your environment, it's like you said, you're swayed to do one thing or another. But that is most certainly a conversation that we need to continue to explore. And once we get done with the election, and we have the person that we think is going to be over the wellness department, we're going to have those conversations, and we probably need to have them publicly online, because I think that's something that we need to talk about to better understand.
I don't have a problem with that, but see, you all are coming at this from a social work standpoint. That's why you always lose in this game. That's why it's so easy to infiltrate good people, because they come in believing that everybody's goddamn good, but we just gotta work with them. Hell, goddamn no. What? And so again, if you study nature, everything that's in nature, you can basically see how this rolls. Okay. And that's why I go back to the damn poisonous snake, non-poisonous snake. Okay. You go back to the gazelle, the nature of the gazelle, nature of goddamn life.
Yeah.
These are things that the Creator has made happen. I mean, whether
it is what it is.
The Negro human just don't want to accept this reality. The good ones, because the evil people accept their reality. They know what time.
Yeah.
But the so-called good people are always trying to make an evil person fit. Like, oh, you just got sidetracked in your life.
Okay. All right. So for the record, that's not what I'm saying, but we're gonna have that conversation. It's gonna be a good one. All right. Next question. Okay. So how do we develop our spirituality for those that want to tap into it? They want to unlock, unleash, and activate. For those that want to be a part of organic right culture, how do we develop spirituality?
Number one, get in the game and start doing some empowerment work, not no damn good deed, superficial work.
Right.
Number two, be willing to risk your goddamn life for someone other than yourself and your immediate or extended family.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you start to learn a lot about the Creator and about yourself. There's a whole nother curriculum that the Creator puts on you that you're not going to be able to read in a damn book.
Right.
And so those are the two initial things. And of course, be open to learning and researching on a continual basis, like continuing education classes.
Yeah.
And those are the things right there. Those three things.
Mm-hmm.
Doing empowerment work, being willing to sacrifice your life for your people, and being a life learner. Those things will continuously elevate you. And you have to become, when you look at my empowerment outline and you see the male matriculation into manhood and the female matriculation into womanhood, and you will see that whether it's the male elevating into manhood or the female elevating into womanhood, the last entity who must be accountable and responsible for is yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You're not first, you're not second, you're not third, you're last. Why? Because if you go through this process of matriculating into manhood from malehood and womanhood from femalehood, if you're last, you've now gone through the process of learning how to become selfless. And when you can become selfless, and you truly are embracing the creator above any entity, your children, your wife, your husband, your parents, until you can get to that goddamn level, you'll always be stagnant on a spiritual, from a spiritual standpoint.
So that's interesting that you say get involved in some empowerment work, not be afraid to risk your life and to be open. So to me, what you're saying, which makes all the sense in the world, a part of the healing, a part of the journey is in the work. If you're not putting in the work, if you're not putting in the work, because if you think about it, Brother Craig, very few of us we don't even think about what empowerment work is, but very few of us are actually involved in the work. And that might be why we remain the same, because we're not trying to empower, we're simply pacifying a symptom of a problem. And we're certainly not open, and we're not trying to risk our life for anything.
Exactly. And that's why King said what he said.
Yeah.
If a man's not willing to die for something, he ain't fit to goddamn live.
That's right.
See, what I've learned over these past 27 years of doing this here in Shreveport directly, I mean, there's a learning curriculum that I have that's exclusive only to people who are willing to die for being on the square. And very few people in world history have been willing to die to be on the square. Now, a whole bunch of goddamn people are willing to die to be on the unrighteous quicksand for your enemy. Well, what do you mean? They join the military.
That's right. That's right.
I remember asking this Negro tried to say, you need to respect me. I was in the military. I'm like, Negro, you were only in the military to get a goddamn debt?
Somebody said that to you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, this is some years back. It sounds like, dude, the only reason you were in the military was to get a check. So don't tell me about no damn you done been to Africa. Don't tell me about you been traveling around the goddamn world. You only did that because you were a goddamn employee hired by the United States in order to serve as a goddamn security guard for the interest of imperialistic.
That's right. 100%.
Period.
100%.
So all this other foolishness that you want to buy into, glory, glory, hallelujah, and the goddamn American, stop.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
Because it ain't real.
Right.
It ain't real. I don't try to go off on cats who've done that, who've gone to the military, but don't ever come to me as if you would have done this for free. You did this because you ain't had no goddamn option.
Right.
In most instances,
that's why
you did it.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm in this war because this is my purpose, because I don't get paid to do empowerment work.
That's right.
I have to figure out how to leverage resources by being in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And so that opens your mind up to a whole bunch of other things that, the average and above average person would never run across their goddamn mind.
That's right. That's right.
And so that's why the default position is to do all of the superficial, exactly, Brother Mike, military or jail back in the day. Exactly.
That's today as well. That's right.
But all of the superficial pseudo work that people do, that's nothing but codependency, enabling superficial work, backpack giveaways, like this dude Crip Mac that's out in California. Oh yeah, we went down there and fed some folks. Yeah, nigga, how often do you do this? How often do you do this? And when you do this, do you know what's gonna happen the next goddamn day?
They're gonna be hungry again.
Exactly.
And still don't know how to fish.
So if you ain't teaching a person how to fish, how in the hell this ain't about them. It's really about you.
That's right. That's right. Your ego.
Shine and look good. Because I used to tell my ex-wife, I say, Michael, how are you helping? Well, Craig, I'm giving them money. To do what? Micah, okay, you give them $10. They still go, you ain't taught them nothing. Their mind is not transformed. Their spirit is not transformed. Okay?
Yeah.
And if you don't do that, how are you helping?
Yeah. Okay, so you've answered the question, how do we develop spirituality? Second to the last question is, how do we create organic right culture?
Number one, again, being immersed in your spirituality. Number two, looking at what has been stolen from us, things that we can maintain from our ancestral legacy. We maintain those things that are not righteous, cutting off a female clitoris, that gotta go.
Yeah.
You know, anything that is not in harmony with the Creator and those righteous ancestors, we eliminate. Those things that are in harmony and they're helping to uplift sisters and brothers and children, we maintain. But that, in order to know what that is, you got to be rooted in spirituality.
Yeah, for sure.
You know how to construct these things, what to keep and what not to keep.
I can dig it. Okay, brother. Last question. You get one takeaway to make sure that everybody has something from tonight's show that they will keep with them for the rest of their lives. So if you only get one takeaway from everything we've talked about tonight that everybody would have with them for the rest of their lives, what would that one takeaway be? Well,
one thing is we didn't get into the numbers with George Zimmerman. So I need to put this in perspective for everybody before I get to that point, so they'll understand why.
You want to share your screen, or you want to read it?
No, I know the numbers.
Oh, okay.
So again, George Zimmerman is still breathing.
Yep.
But over the same 10-year period, just averaging, which is a little bit below our Negro savage average on an annual basis, just averaging 6,000 murders a year. 6 times 10 gives us 60,000. So I want you all to put this in perspective. Monster Cody was ready to, he was hoping that his gang were the ones who did in
Nipsey Hussle.
Nipsey Hussle. Okay, so they just a professional murderer. So what I'm saying to you is, individual savages and gang savages, they have committed over 60,000 murders over a 10-year span. But goddamn, George Zimmerman is still alive. That baffles my goddamn mind.
Yes, sir.
What's his name? Darren Wilson is still alive.
Yep.
He murdered Mike Brown. And we can go down the list. All of these people. So let me get this straight. You're going to tear up Ferguson, burn it up. You're going to tear up Detroit. You're going to tear up Baltimore, burn it up. But the individuals that are responsible for your anger and your discontentment, they still walk. But people that you don't know, or who looked at you wrong, or wearing a different color, or from a different goddamn street, you will blast their ass into smithereens immediately. 60 plus thousand. I want y'all to think about that for a goddamn minute. 60 plus thousand Negroes, and 95 to 99% of those murders were committed by who? Us against us.
Right.
Or melanated Negro against melanated Negro,
yeah.
or melanated Negro savage against melanated black person. Because black folks ain't doing that.
That's right.
Negro.
Yep.
Only in self-defense. So I wanted to make sure that everybody understood why we're approaching this subject from that standpoint.
Yes, sir.
So the one takeaway for this evening is, brother, without spirituality and organic right culture, right, you ain't nothing but a kite just dangling in the air.
Yeah.
You have no perspective on anything, because as Dr. Wade Noble says, you're rolling with the definition of power from your oppressor, believing that this definition is yours. Ability to define reality and have others respond to your definition as if it were their own.
Yeah.
And so without spirituality embracing that in organic right culture, all you're going to do is continue to imitate, emulate those positions of your ancestors, your oppressors, the architects, the engineers, and the managers of the philosophy system and game of capitalistic white supremacy. And so if you want to transform your mind and your spirit, you got to embrace those first two pillars of the 6 pillars of empowerment, and definitely the remaining 4.
Yeah, and I'll say that the last part of the show, you told people exactly how to do just that. You got to be involved in some empowerment work. You have to be willing to put your life at risk, and you got to be open to learning. If you are willing to start doing those 3 things, then you are most certainly going to change, because you're going to see things, experience things, be open to things, learn things, and that will put you on that path, and you just continue to duplicate and go from there. Because like you also say, Brother Craig, the Creator is going to put certain people in your path that's going to help you continue to build and grow. But of course, if you're not even trying to find the path, then the people may not ever show up. So you about to say something else?
Let me read this from an article, and I'm gonna send you this from an Al Jazeera article about the surge in homicides this past year, and this just shows you when you don't really know how to think and you just go for the default position. But it's about Black and brown communities. One of the troubling aspects of the spike in murders is that it is disproportionately hitting poor and minority communities. Okay, this has been an ongoing issue for years, where Black and brown communities have continued to feel the devastation of gun violence. Another default term: there is no such thing as gun violence. Guns don't create violence. People who use guns create violence, said Sierra Bates Chamberlain, executive director of Live Free Illinois, a group that works to foster safety in Chicago and other Illinois cities. So we know how they're doing with their goddamn job. Listen to this. The more important piece is to get at the real cause of homicide. And the root cause of gun violence in community, which is, y'all ready for it, racism and poverty. Bates Chamberlain told Al Jazeera.
Racism?
Racism.
That don't even make any sense. Racism?
They just give default answers.
Wow.
I'm going to say this to you all again. there are only two problems that African descendants in America and throughout the world have. One is the philosophy, system, and game of capitalistic white supremacy and racism. That's real. But there's nothing that we can directly do to transform or eliminate that reality. That is up to the good white folks who say that they're not racist. Okay? Now, the only other problem that we have is no empowerment. Empowerment meaning the ability to control your destiny. Your YOU, you individually working within who? Our OUR communities in order to do what? In order to do what? Help us move towards the destiny that we have been born to control. Do that spiritually, culturally, educationally, economically, socially, and politically. If you are now embracing those 6 pillars of empowerment, you could have 50,000 guns right in front of you.
Right.
And guess what?
Nobody dies.
Nobody dies. Yeah. You can have 10 million crack rocks in front of you. And guess what? You ain't gonna smoke no crack.
That's right.
Because now your mind and your spirit has been transformed to control your destiny individually and collectively. As long as people keep on talking about homicide is caused by racism and poverty, you're not going to take an introspective look as to what we are doing to ourselves.
Yeah.
I get it. The hand that we've been dealt is a bad hand. It is fucked up. But guess what, Brother Naru? We're the only ones who can fix it.
That's right.
Our oppressors are not going to fix it.
Yeah.
So if you believe that racism and white supremacy is the reason that David Banner will go and sit up and say and defend toxic ass hip hop, when you know goddamn well that the majority of rap music is targeted at the destruction of our people.
Yep.
If he's not going to fight against the toxicity, you are complicit
Yep.
in the hatred and the vitriol of our people. I don't give a damn what so-called positive shit you try to say. You are complicit in that situation because racism and poverty are damn sure not the reasons that Negroes are murdering each other.
That's right.
And you can prove that based on case-by-case basis and just by going back to February the 1st, 1865 to goddamn me 1964, that 99-year period where we started with the 13th Amendment. That's as poor as we've ever been. February the 1st, 1865 to December the 6th, 1865, the 13th Amendment passage and the 13th Amendment ratification. Why we weren't killing each other then?
Yeah.
Why, how did all of this start?
That's right.
Okay, and we were broke. Racism still existed.
Big time.
Way more than it.
That's right. And there was definitely poverty. Yes,
So
sir.
stop.
Yeah.
Stop. All right.
Yeah. I can dig it. All right. On that note, we're gonna open this thing up for questions and answers. So does anybody have, all right, there's Brother Naru, as always. Brother Naru, first question and or a comment from Brother Craig.
No, don't be trying to get sleepy now, man. I got things to talk about.
Cut it out.
All right. First off, earlier you said that a child that was raised by a same-sex couple would be messed up. by that couple. So I'd like to ask you a question about that. If you had a choice between a child being left into foster care in an abusive system or being taken out of that system by a same-sex couple, which one of those would you choose?
Well, you just asked a loaded question, as
Yeah.
if the foster system is an abusive system, and you didn't say that there's a potential abusive situation beyond the obvious of seeing two males or two females on a daily basis, which alters the reality, the natural reality of the child.
I understand that.
Yeah, so I would opt to have that child remain in foster care and seek parents to try to place that entity, that child, with.
That's of course that's the ideal choice. I'm saying, so me being an educator, being around children, I've seen it where nobody wants the child, but a same-sex couple wanted the child, and I'm just asking because I've seen it happen. So, and to remain in a foster care system where a child is being abused, raped, molested, I think it's way better to have them with some. Even though these people might not share the same values, they might actually care really for the child and show the child much more than they had it. That's why I'm asking that question.
But you do know that there are many cases where the homosexuals are doing the same thing.
Well, come on now. Obviously, I'm not saying we're going to take the child from the skillet and put them into the frying pan. I'm obviously not saying that. I'm obviously saying a couple that's not going to abuse the child is what I'm saying.
But you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know that they're going to be on their best behavior. So you wouldn't know how they're.
Well, you wouldn't know that with the traditional couple either. That's not gonna. You can never know that from just from the adopt. You can't know that.
But Naru, here's the ultimate question that you're asking, because the premise is this homosexuality thing is now in such an insidious manner that you are changing the dynamics of an individual's mind to accept something that is anti-life and anti.
I understand that. I'm telling you, I've battled with this. That's why I'm asking you, because I've seen it happen, and I've seen same-sex couples adopt children, and then I've even seen same-sex couples of a different race adopt children, which is even a whole nother kettle. And for me, it was really hard to see, but I ultimately thought that the child was in a better situation than being raped, molested, and abused. And that, we understand what I'm saying.
Are you saying that every child that's in foster care is being raped?
No, I didn't say every child. I said I gave a specific instance where that was happening and no one else was stepping up to adopt this child. This wasn't a baby. This was like and I'm talking about a real case. This was a older kid who was like 8 or 9, which oftentimes when they reach that age, nobody really wants to adopt them. They become permanent wards of the state as well. I'm sure you well know that happens. And this child was being severely abused, and this actual, I don't want to say too much, but this actual person was a social worker, and her wife actually adopted this child.
Yeah, in my position on something like that is and that to me would be the state not doing their job.
Oh, yeah. Well,
coming out and observing that child. But I would, unfortunately, I would opt to put that child into a traditional foster environment with legitimate foster parents, and hopefully try to seek to increase these numbers. But I'm glad you asked that question, because that's one of the main reasons why those of us who are grassroots revolutionaries, got to leverage money, status, and materialism so that we can create a dorm, in various cities where we can have 50 to 100 children from the foster care system, and now give them legitimate mentorship so they can see positive relationship. But I would never, I'm never in favor of same-sex couples being allowed to raise any child, whether it's African American or any child, because automatically you're rearranging the natural structure of how the Creator has designed this entity to look at life.
Yeah, and I agree with that.
That's really what's going on. But I understand that we are in this hellhole called America, and down is up and up is down and right is left and left is right. So I get it, but on my position, no, it wouldn't matter to me what they were bringing to the table. I would just have the state do a better job of protecting these goddamn children.
You know that ain't gonna happen. So we that's a pipe dream right there. But okay, we're gonna let that one go. Yeah. So would you personally ever think about adopting a child?
I would think about that, once my plate is a little bit less hectic. But yeah, I would.
All right, great. Okay, one more question, well, maybe two. Okay, you often talk about sacrificing your life. So what benefits do you think should come when you sacrifice your life for your people? What benefits should the people receive? Because we've had many people martyred and given their lives, and it really don't seem like that much better to me. I'm just gonna be honest with you. So what do you think should happen when this happens, when someone is actually willing to put their life on the line, as you say you are doing? What benefits should you see should come if somebody was to say, take you out, bro? Like, I mean, I'm just like really being real about
it. Okay, what benefits would come from
not to you personally, because you're gonna be gone, but for the work you've done, like you say you're putting your life on your line for the people, but what are we really gonna get if you're gone? You know what I'm saying? What do we benefit by that?
No, I think you're looking at it from the wrong perspective. My point is, in order to do this work, because you're gonna die anyway.
True.
And you don't know how you're gonna die.
True.
So if you tap in, and it's if people learn to tap into their purpose, you have to be willing to sacrifice it all for that purpose. See, evil people are willing to sacrifice it all, including their lives.
True.
So righteous people have to be willing to sacrifice all if you're really on that path. So when you are willing to do that, you now set the tone for your legacy based on the programs, projects, businesses that you set in the motion, the policies that you have in place, the empowerment work, the coalitions that you
now you're answering the question. Yeah. Yes, now you're answering the question.
Be more forward thinking than just to leave and you don't have the information or whatnot put into a perspective for other people to glean from. So that again comes from putting structures in place so that young people can learn, other people can actually learn. I said, Naru, that once I create my K through 12 Learning Institute and my Institute for Spiritual and Cultural Studies, they can come take me at that particular point, because I would have put the infrastructure in place that could then sustain the learning and whatnot that I have, just like L. Ron Hubbard on his evil side did with the Church of Scientology, or like Dr. Clay did with the Shrine of Black Madonna. These entities put these things in place so that people who could, roll with their philosophies could continue to carry on the mission long after them. I just have never seen a spiritual institute put in place and a K through 12 institute that would be in harmony with that put in place, that now children would be able to continuously learn. And so that's just the path that the Creator has given me for me to be on. I can't speak to other people who profess to want to do these things. But no, I agree with you. Being a martyr, just to be a martyr, no, that's not the end game, because you need to leave your immediate family, your extended family, the people who roll with you in a better position.
Right.
And then they're in, before you left the planet.
I agree. When I got a family and a daughter, I stopped being. I got a little less militant. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm still speaking my truth and doing things, but I'm not out in the streets like I used to be. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like I got to be here for them. So that's why I'm.
Bring up a very good point. Not real, and it's so interesting how one of my good colleagues, he's now deceased, Brother Baruti. This is 10 years this year that he's deceased. He died in 2012. And Baruti, when he died, his children came in from California, and I promised him that I would talk to his children. And Baruti died broke. He wanted his children to operate as a corporate grassroots revolutionary like myself, but they had an issue with their father because he sold them the whole poverty game. He sold them the whole poverty activism game, and there's no glory in that. And I learned a lot about how he was trying to raise him. He wanted to raise him to be like me, but he just didn't know how. And he had dropped out of high school in 10th grade, and he got caught up dealing with a very complex situation here in Shreveport, and it messed with his balance to see things. And as he got older, he became cynical, and he became a part of the same hypocrisy that he preached against, right?
Wow.
And so anytime I tried to show him something different, he wouldn't roll. And so I remember him telling me, he said, "Craig, I'm gonna tell you the one problem I got with you." I said, "What is it?" He said, "Your slave name." And I started laughing. And he said, "Why you laughing? I'm serious." I said, "Cause Baruti, what the hell is Baruti Ajanaku? What is that connected to? That's an African name." I said, "But what is it connected to? And how has your mindset changed? I mean, you're still doing the same slave Negro foolishness that you did as Gordon Arthur. You wear the goddamn dashiki, but the damn sister told me that her child saw you come copping drugs in the goddamn project." So
Zulu Jackson.
Explain how you naming your damn self or being named Baruti Ajanaku is better than me having my slave name Craig Lee, which I will change as my research is completed on the continent, because I'm not just gonna pull a name out of my ass.
That's right.
But people do what they want to do, it's no problem. But I'm rolling with the principle. I'm doing the work. You're playing. And so that goes to the point that you're making. A lot of folks who want to believe they want to be in this thing, but they don't know how to believe it. So I just try to teach them as best I can. But I'm with you. And lastly, Naru, the village, the community starts in your damn house.
Yes, sir. Yes,
so you
sir.
ain't your damn child and your damn wife. Are you crazy? It all connects. So if you can't or don't want to still be on the front lines or whatever, cool. You still in the movement, bam. What can you do? Write a check, send some cash for the people who will be in.
That's right.
That don't mean that you are not a part of the movement, because you gotta have resources to rock and roll. So I don't get mad at people who have children and whatnot. The Creator just guided me to understand it wasn't in the cards for me to have children unless I met a gangster ass female and we could roll as two intellectual gangsters, but that ain't never happened in these 27 years that I've been here, doing this work. So I take my hat off to all of y'all, because it starts in each one of the damn houses.
Respect. Appreciate that, man. So next question is for Tamani. Since we on names, Tamani, was this your birth name, or did you receive this name in a more of a spiritual way? And what does your name mean?
No, Tamani is not my birth name. I changed my name when I was in the military.
Okay.
I actually started reading a whole hell of a lot, learned things that I didn't know. It had to be some sort of divine intervention. I was in a dojo on base, working out, doing some training. There was a brother there watching me, didn't know who the cat was. When I got finished, he and I were walking back to the barracks. Come to find out, he was right across the hall from me. And he told me on that walk, Jesus is black. And I said, kiss my ass. And he proved it.
Wait, how old were you?
I was 17.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I graduated high school early and I went in the military early. So, and I was due to deploy to Thailand, I think like 2 weeks was my first deployment. So he gave me Malcolm X's autobiography. And that book changed my life.
Yeah.
And from that point, matter of fact, I got a picture if I had time I showed of me in the jungle in Thailand reading that book.
Wow. I think you've shown that before. I think you've shown that picture.
Yeah. So
I think I've seen that. Yeah.
That book changed. That book had me wondering what else did I not learn, and of course that was everything. So when I got to the point where I realized I wanted to change my name and give the slave name back, I wanted a name that meant something that I could always aspire to be. So that's what Tamani means, aspiring. And my whole name means aspiring, intelligent, unchangeable companion to his people. That's what my whole name is. And all of my kids, of course, have African names. So all of their names mean blah, 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 companion to their people.
Respect.
So that's the whole story. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, amen.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. And like I said, my whole perspective is more one of genealogy and being able to go back to the continent. My cousin just died this past week, and he never made it to Africa. So his wife, next Saturday, when they have his funeral service, she's going to cremate him and take his ashes to the continent. Wow. And disperse his ashes in various parts of the continent. And that's powerful,
for sure.
And whatnot. But, again, if we don't elevate beyond the mere rhetoric of talking and whatnot, you can create some negative vibrations with your children who are looking to you for guidance. And Brother Baruti had just been so much on this whole ghetto this and ghetto that I'm like, Baruti, we ain't, brother, the ghetto, this is you're embracing a white construct. I mean, that's a white construct. But to get him out of that mindset, you just couldn't do it. But he apologized for a lot of things that he had lied and said about me before he died. And I forgave him. But it is one of those things. But all of this starts in the home, man.
Yeah, I would much rather have some conscious Craig Lees than unconscious Baruti Osekwe, whatever the hells, because we're going to go much further with the conscious Craig Lees than the unconscious, African names. And sadly, there's so many Shaka Zulu Jacksons out here that just got a powerful name, but just doing some straight nigga stuff. It's like, come on, man. Do you know what that name means? So, it's kind of what Black people do. We want to do something that looks good, but we're not really about that life.
That's true.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Naru, I'm assuming that was your last question?
Oh, yeah, that was it. Thank you.
Cool. All right, Brother Michael, I'm assuming you do not have a question or comment?
No, actually, great presentation, brothers. I mean, just always a blessing on Thursdays. But my piece is related to two things.
Okay.
Loretta, Sister Loretta, that's been hired by the NFL to defend them against Coach Flores' lawsuit. And then also the whole piece related to the sisters that are up for the Supreme Court. Just another angle. I mean, because it's like you said, Craig. It's not frustrating, but it's like people just don't see the other side of that. As long as the Delta AKs can get one feather in their quiver in their hat, as long as they can be seen but doing no work. Even back in the early 70s, Augustus Hawkins, who used to be the longtime congressman, he died.
Mm-hmm.
He helped form it, but he said after a while it was just a 10 crumpets type organization, 85% social and 50% work. But it's like that. And so with that said, and all this going on, rising crime and all this, I just wanted to know, what was your take on that, and then also how we can continue to stay conscious about where we need to be at, as opposed to where ideally people want to go. It's a different. People get caught up in ideals instead of the reality.
Exactly. I tell you this, man. Being at Southwood has really given me, on a daily basis, it has really given me some real perspective on where we're at with this hardcore violence thing with young people and in our community, period. And so, again, it's the most clever just trick, magical trick that's been played on the world to allow people to believe that they are free when they're not. Next Friday, we're preparing to do our Black History celebration at Southwood, and we're hosting this Dads on Duty. And Mike, I was struggling to find out, because we're putting up $1,000 for a scholarship, for essay contest. And I didn't know what I was gonna call it until last Friday when I walked in the bathroom and these guys were vaping, smoking drugs, and I went off on their ass. And I say, why do you all wanna be a slave? Why? And that's when it hit me, the title of the essay, Modern Slavery in America, and a critical analysis of the 13th Amendment. Because after that episode last week, I asked a few students this week, was slavery legal in America? And I already know they were going to say no. So then I showed them the 13th Amendment, and they were like, my teacher ain't teach us this. I said, I know. And I was like, this is why you all are willing to offer yourselves up as sacrificial lambs to be enslaved, because you got to commit a crime to now be enslaved. I said, what happened to those guys in the bathroom? She said they were breaking the law. Exactly. So that allows them to what? Be enslaved. I said, okay, now they use 3 terms, slavery, and they use involuntary servitude. I said, what's the opposite of involuntary? She says, voluntary. Exactly. So if you volunteer yourself to commit a crime, even though you really don't know why you're even doing it, but you believe you do because you believe you're making these decisions on your own. I said, this is a clever, I have to take my hat off to it. So we're in a situation, Mike, with these bourgeoisie Negroes, brother, they just using these children for a check. They're using it, and they don't even have a clue, brother. I'm dealing with these teachers and administrators they don't have a clue. And nor do they care. Most of them don't. They don't care, brother. And so the children, when I talk to them about this gang shit, bro, they serious about this shit. 3 babies, 4 babies. I'm like, what the hell is that? 3 neighborhoods. We're the babies of so-called gangsters. 4 babies. We're the children of so-called gangsters from 4 other neighborhoods. So do y'all own the street? No. Do you? They not even doing the color thing no more, per se. They call themselves babies. And they mean to do harm. You see? And so I think I sent you all the video, Little Shooter, and some other foolishness. Dude, I'm having to study this stuff because they are for real with this, man. And they come to school just to skip class. They come to school to try to fight. And so I gotta synthesize how we can connect the learning to money, status, and materialism so that they can see that they can leverage it. And finally, and I won't be saying this on the at the city council meeting, I'm gonna do this behind the scenes. Do you all remember a show, and really, other than transforming the minds and the spirits of the young person, people, the only other thing that we're gonna be able to do y'all remember this show, 21 Jump Street?
Yep.
You remember that show, Mike and Naru?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Watch it religiously.
That's the only way, brother, that you're gonna cut down on a lot of this violence. You're gonna have to have, especially here in the city of Shreveport, two females and 2 males who look like 9th graders at each school, and let them matriculate through the process for 4 years, and then get 4 more. It's gonna be the only way.
And then get what?
And then let them matriculate out, because you won't be able to keep them there.
Oh, right.
At 4 years.
Yeah.
You got to get a new crop. But I say that to say this: we are engaging these students, and they're producing intel for us. The biggest thing that we're learning is that we're gaining intelligence by doing counterintelligence there at the institution, learning from them, putting fillers out. And some of it, because the children know, right? Yeah. But we're only limited to a degree because we're the elders of them. But it's gonna take things like that, and again, just us really dedicating ourselves to getting in the mix, because everything that you said, Mike, is spot on in your assessment. But these folks don't give a damn, brother. Period. Federal level, state level, local level, and until grassroots people take over these local seats, we're still gonna be where we at.
Yep. Sentient programs.
Yes, sir. Sentient program.
Heavy. All right. So, brother Mike, you good?
Okay. Yeah, I'm good to go. Thanks, bro, Craig.
Cool.
Yes, sir.
All right, so let me do my one announcement, and then I'll close this thing out. We want to make sure that everybody is aware of our national election this coming June. If you have expertise in one of these 17 areas, or if you know someone who does, go to our website, blackownation.com, click on leadership election or the election, and learn more about what we're doing, what we're trying to do. We're trying to find other brother Craig Lees, other brother Craig Lees in other areas that we need leadership in nationally, who understand things that the majority of our people don't understand, so we can put ourselves in a position to win. And I venture to say that if this is our 71st episode, and if you watch any of the other previous 70 episodes, I guarantee you're going to learn at least one thing, if not 3 or 4, because we really, well, he does an excellent job. I'm merely asking the questions of really laying out the code to being a revolutionary, more specifically, a corporate grassroots revolutionary. More specific than that, a social entrepreneur, which is connected to, of course, what a corporate grassroots revolutionary does. So if we're going to make this thing happen, if we're going to win, if we're going to put our children in a position to win some of these battles so we can ultimately win this war, we got to have people who know what they're doing in the critical areas by which we're being attacked and destroyed, and by which we're deficient. And of course, that's what we're trying to do with the national leadership election. So if you have expertise, you have an undying love and commitment to Black people, and you're ready and willing to give back, we most certainly want to connect with you, because we understand no one person can do this. And we need as many committed Black people as possible to make this thing a reality. So on that note, Brother Craig, any closing comments?
No, that's it. Thank you, guys. And like I said, be headed to Woodville, Mississippi tomorrow.
Amen. So on that note, always remember that no one can do everything, but if everyone does something, everything will get done. And absolutely, always remember that nothing is more sacred than the empowerment and freedom of Black people. Because if Black people don't make it, you're not gonna make it. I don't care what you're doing, because you're Black. So God bless you. You guys have a wonderful evening. I'll see y'all next week. Take care.
Peace.
Peace.